Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben. In this video we're going to be looking at what jobs need doing in the garden for September. We're going to be running through three categories: what to do in the vegetable garden, what to do in the fruit garden, and what to do in the flower garden for September, as there's still tasks that need doing to keep that garden looking brilliant as well. So these are the three categories that we're going to be going through. So I hope you find it useful and it'll help you keeping your garden looking brilliant through the time through autumn and winter, ready for next year, so then it'll all look fantastic and bloom again for next year. So we'll be doing all these jobs as well in our allotment to keep it looking great as well. So let's go through these categories. So first off, we're going to go through what needs doing in the vegetable garden for September. There's quite a few tasks what need doing this month, so we'll go through them and explain what needs doing. First one is French beans. Now you can still keep getting crops from your French beans right through September, and the way to encourage them to do so is to keep feeding them on a regular basis. Now you can keep feeding them on a weekly basis and also keep picking the crops off so that you can keep producing those French beans for these Sunday dinners to go with your nice meals as well. So keep picking them and it'll encourage more to keep growing. Now peas will be finishing off this month, so what you need to do with the peas is you don't pull all the plants out, you don't dig them all out, as that is the wrong way to do it. Now with peas, what you need to do is cut them off at the bases and leave the roots in the ground. This will add the nitrogen back into the ground and it will help produce better crops of other vegetables throughout the year as well. So don't pull the roots out, just cut them off at the bases and let them die back in the ground naturally. So that is a good tip what I've learned myself as well. So potatoes, you can be digging up your main crops now. If you've got some in the ground and you want to leave them in the ground, just cut the foliage off the top, as that will encourage them to get blight. So cut the tops off and you can leave them in the ground, or you can dig them up and eat them and store them until you need them. Pumpkins. Now pumpkins, what you need to do is put them on a plank of wood or a slate, as if it's touching the ground it can encourage it to rot and to die away, and we don't want that. You want to get nice big pumpkins ready for Halloween and to show off who can grow the biggest pumpkin. So put them on a plank of wood or on a slate and it'll stop it from rotting, and you can keep feeding these also on a weekly basis to encourage them to grow nice and big. Let's see who can grow the biggest pumpkin. I set you that little challenge and see how well you do. So last year we grew some pumpkins and they were just normal size, but I've been reading up more on them, and so I'm going to start feeding them and encourage them to grow bigger and see how big I can actually grow a pumpkin. Runner beans are a bit like French beans. What you need to do is still keep picking them on a regular basis as they're ready. Don't let them get too long. Pick them when they're ready, and it will encourage more runner beans to keep growing on them vines, and you'll keep getting a crop through September, and it will encourage more to keep growing as well. So yeah, that's runner beans for you. Sweetcorn, now that is one of the best things that you can grow in your plot, and if you've not grown sweetcorn before, I encourage you to grow sweetcorn, as you will not go back and you will not purchase it from shops. You'll just keep growing it and growing it. Now I've got a massive sweetcorn crop growing and I can't wait to taste this. So you need to check to see if it's ready. You can peel away the leaves and see if it's ready. Also the ends will go brown on them, and also you can squeeze one of the kernels, and if it's watery you need to leave it a bit longer. So also watch out for earwigs, as they like to go inside the leaves and stuff, and all the insects and stuff hiding away, so be careful of them. You're best off peeling them on the allotment or in the garden before you take them indoors, but you need to take them home and cook them straight away, because as soon as you pick them, the sweetness of the sweet corn will deteriorate fast. So pick them and take them home and cook them straight away. Don't store them for another day. They need to be cooked that same day that you pick them. tomato plants. To encourage them to start ripening, if you're struggling to get them to ripen, you need to be pinching the tops off them, and it will encourage the tomatoes to grow and to ripen and to get ready. And you can also use the old wives' tales of using banana skins, hanging them up to encourage them to ripen, as that's what people do. Or also, if you want to take them off and put them in a brown paper bag and put them in a drawer, and they will start to ripen. So let's go on to the next category. So the next category is fruit garden. In your fruit garden, these are the jobs that you need to be doing this month in September. So apples will start to be getting ready for the end of the September, and the way to make sure that these are ready are not just to yank them off, it's to put them in the palm of your hand, and they should just come away nice and easily from the tree, and that's how you'll know your apples are ready. Now blackberries will be coming to the end of the season, so make sure you pick as many as you can, because blackberries are expensive to purchase in the shops. I've put hints and tips on my websites on how to freeze raspberries. It's not a case of just sticking them straight in the freezer, because they will just all clump together. You need to lay them on a baking tray and freeze them, then take them off the baking tray and then put them in a food bag, and they will freeze individually rather than as a whole clump. Now in September you can also be taking cuttings as well. You can take cuttings from all your currant bushes. If you've got red currants, black currants, white currants, red currants, you can be taking wooden cuttings and planting them in your polytunnels or your greenhouses and take cuttings from them and start them off. You can also take cuttings from gooseberry bushes as well. So if you're a fan of gooseberries, red gooseberries are delicious. If you've not tried growing red gooseberries, try growing them ones. They are more sweeter than the sour green variety. So you can take cuttings of those this month, and you can start them off ready to grow some more for next year. So plum trees, as plums are finishing, you need to make sure that there's no rotten plums left on the tree, as this can cause disease. It goes the same for any fruit tree. Make sure any rotten fruit is taken off, or any old fruit is taken off, so that it doesn't cause any disease on the tree. And if you leave it on, it will cause disease and it'll spread through the tree, and you don't want to lose your fruit trees. So take off any old fruit and rotten fruit. Summer raspberries, you can now prune these back. The way that you prune the summer raspberries back are, you need to prune back the canes that have fruited this year. You don't want to prune back any new growth on them raspberry canes, as that's what will fruit next year. You need to prune back the ones that have had fruit on. It'll be quite obvious which ones have had fruit on, so prune them back now rather than leaving them till next year, so that you can see which ones have had fruit on and get them ready for next year. Tie up any new canes and they will grow well for next year. The next one is strawberries. Now strawberries, I've got absolutely hundreds of strawberry plants on my plot, and I'm still creating more plants every single year. They'll have sent out their runners, and hopefully you'll have potted them up. You can now cut them away from the runners if they've rooted, and plant them where you want them to go in your plot, or at home in plant pots or in containers, whichever way you're growing them. Also clear away any old foliage that's dying off, as that will cause disease in the plants and you don't want that. Clear away any straw, what you've used to lay the strawberries on, that all needs clearing away, and just leave them as plants ready for next year. So that is all the jobs what you need to do in the fruit garden for September. So let's have a look at the next category. So the next category is the flower garden. What jobs do you need to do in the flower garden in September? Once your climbing roses have finished flowering, these can be pruned back, ready for next year. Don't prune them back while they're still flowering, because you want your flowers in the garden. Wait till they've stopped flowering and then prune them back. Flowers, obviously, to keep encouraging the flowers to keep growing, like calendula and any sort of flowers, keep deheading them when they're dying, and it will encourage more flowers to grow, and you could still be getting flowers through September and keeping those gardens looking absolutely beautiful. The next one is hanging baskets. Now if you've got a fantastic looking hanging basket, don't give up hope on it dying off in September. Keep it going as long as possible, and the hanging baskets will keep on going until the weather turns colder. And the way to keep it going is keep feeding it, keep watering it, because they do dry out fast. Feed it on a weekly basis, and also keep deheading them again, any flowers that are dying off on it, and it will encourage more flowers to grow on the plant and keep them hanging baskets going as long as possible. Rosidendrons. Now those will be creating the flower buds this month, ready for next year, and the way to keep encouraging the more flower buds to grow is to keep watering them through September. Keep them watered and get them flower heads growing on them, because what flower heads appear will be what flower next year on that plant. So that is a key vital tip on Rosidendrons. So that has been the 3 categories. So I hope you found them tips useful on what to do in the garden, what to do in the fruit garden, and what to do in the flower garden for September. Make sure you subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with my tours, my tips, my advice, all my videos. And below I'll put a link to my website as well. Check it out. I'll put lots of hints and tips on there as well. So stay tuned for more videos. So thanks for watching, and remember, keep gardening.